Okay, stop scrolling for a second. If you've ever sold a car for cash or received a large inheritance, you might be one deposit away from a federal report without even knowing it. There is a number, one number. The second your account crosses it, the IRS gets a report with your name on it. Automatically. No warning, no letter first. It just happens. Most people have never heard this number explained in plain English, not from their bank, not from anyone. When your bank does mention it, it's buried in fine print you were never going to read. Today, I'm giving you that number. I'm telling you exactly what triggers it. I'm telling you the one mistake that turns an innocent deposit into a red flag. And I'm telling you what changed just this year. 4 things. Stay with me. The mistake trips up honest, careful people the most. Not criminals, regular people. People like you. All right, let's get into it. The number is $10,000. Here's how it works. Anytime you deposit or withdraw $10,000 or more in cash in a single day, your bank is required to file a report to the federal government, not a request. Required. These rules come from a law called the Bank Secrecy Act, tightened again by the Patriot Act in 2002. They were written to catch major criminals, but they're so broad, they often trip up regular families by mistake. Let me be clear about something. This is not a cap on your account. There is no rule saying you can't have more than $10,000 in your checking account. You can have $10,000 in there. You can have $100,000 in there. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's taking it. What triggers the report isn't your balance. It's the transaction. One big cash move at or above $10,000, and the bank has 15 days to report it. Why does this exist? Money laundering, drug trafficking, terrorism financing. That's the actual target. Not you, not your grandmother's CD that finally matured, not the check from selling your car. But the rule doesn't care who you are. It applies to everyone who touches that number. That's why you deserve to know it, instead of finding out by accident. Now, here's the part I told you to stick around for. This is the one that hurts people who did nothing wrong. Some people hear about the $10,000 threshold and think, this I'll just deposit a little less each time. Maybe you're not hiding anything. Maybe you just don't like the government knowing your business. I understand that instinct. But listen carefully. That instinct alone can get you charged with a federal crime. It's called structuring. Here's the part that shocks people. It is illegal even if your money is completely legal. The government doesn't have to prove you did anything wrong with the money. They only have to show you broke up your deposits on purpose. That's the whole crime. Real example. Someone sells a car for $20,000 in cash. Instead of depositing it all at once, they split it up. $9,000 one day, $9,000 the next, thinking they're avoiding paperwork. That's structuring. That's a federal felony. Up to 5 years in prison. A fine as high as $250,000. If it's tied to more than $100,000 in a year, the penalty doubles to 10 years. Banks are trained to watch for this pattern. They don't need you to hit $10,000 in one transaction. If they see deposits that look like they're dodging the threshold, they file a suspicious activity report. That alone can trigger a federal investigation. So here's my honest advice. If you have a large, legitimate amount of cash from a car sale, an inheritance, or a settlement, just deposit it normally, all at once, or in the pattern that reflects when you actually received it. The report is not a punishment. It's paperwork. Breaking your money into pieces to dodge it is what turns an innocent deposit into a federal case. While that $10,000 rule is the big one to watch, there are smaller numbers that just changed this year for anyone with a side hustle. If you run a small side business, this is good news. Selling on Etsy, freelance work, renting out a room, the threshold for reporting that income went from $600 to $2,000 starting January 1st, 2020. Small jobs under $2,000 don't trigger a tax form anymore. And that number adjusts for inflation every year going forward. That finally ends a $600 rule that had been sitting there since the 1950s. And if you're sending help to family back home, there's a brand new transfer tax you need to calculate before you hit the bank. Cash-based international transfers now carry a 1% federal tax when sent through a retail provider. Send $1,000 in cash to a relative abroad. Expect a $10 tax on top. Neither of those is the scary checking account limit people are worried about, but both are genuinely new this year. Now, let me be fair here. I don't want this to sound scarier than it is. For most of you watching this, none of it changes your life. Most people never move $10,000 in cash in a single day. This rule has existed for over 50 years. It has quietly applied to everyone this whole time. But there's something uncomfortable about a rule that's applied to every American since 1970, and almost nobody's ever had it explained to them plainly. That gap between what the law actually says and what people think it says is exactly where fear moves in. That's why I wanted to walk through this with you. Let me bring it together. 1. The number is $10,000. Cross that in cash in a single day, and your bank has to report it. That's not new. It's not a cap on your account. 2. Never break up a legitimate deposit to dodge that line. That's structuring. It's a federal felony. It applies even when your money is completely clean. 3. Small business and freelance reporting thresholds went up this year. $600 to $2,000. Less paperwork for a lot of you. 4. Cash sent abroad through wire services now carries a small new federal tax. This isn't about hiding from the IRS. It's about knowing exactly where the real lines are, so nobody can scare you with a number you didn't understand. If this helped make sense of something confusing, share it with someone who's been nervous about a big deposit, a settlement check, an inheritance, or selling something valuable. Drop your questions in the comments. I read every one. If you want me to go deeper on structuring or what happens after a bank files a report, tell me, and I'll make that video. Like this one. Subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss what's next.